Okay, good afternoon, and thank everybody for joining us today. I'm Mike Hopper, CTI Connect's dedicated Tarana product manager. Today, I'm joined by two industry veterans from Tarana Wireless, Senior Sales Engineer Vardan Amiri, and from CTI Connect, our Senior VP of Engineering, Justin Robertson. Welcome, guys. I appreciate you making the time to sit down and talk to us today. Vardan, would you like to give us a little history on yourself so that everybody get to know you a little bit?
Sure, definitely. I mean, it's great to be here, and thank you for having me on the panel. My name is Vardan Amiri, as Mike mentioned. I've been in the industry for over 23 years. Anywhere from point to multi-point, proprietary-based products, Wi-Fi based, LTE based type solutions, even all the way down to FSO. So pretty familiar with the industry, and happy to be here on the panel to help provide some insight on planning. So thank you for having me.
Great. Thanks, Vardan.
Perfect. Thanks, Mike. Again, like Mike said, Justin Robinson. I lead the engineering services group for CTI. In the past, while it's kind of aging myself now, in the industry over 15 years through different capacities with manufacturers, with resellers, and distribution. So it's nice to be able to tie everything together for solutions for our customers. So glad to be on the panel. Thanks, Mike.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, so much. All right, we'll get started. Just a quick overview of the agenda. So I have a couple different topics today. We'll have a few slides, but mainly we want to make it conversational. So as we go through these slides, please ask any questions that you have. We'll keep them in the Q&A section, and then we'll finish them after each section. So we're going to talk about planning, the importance of planning, and how important it is for an ISP to plan every site accordingly and make sure that they have all the boxes checked, from RF planning to, cable links and what types of cables you need, just all the different things that maybe some people aren't thinking about on a daily basis. We'll also discuss CTI Connect's site kitting and BN pre-configuration services. That's something that Justin has spearheaded since he's been here over the course of the last year. And it's really taken off. It's a great feature for anybody that wants a simple all-in-one solution to be sent to a site or to their warehouse and not have to worry about missing anything or getting multiple shipments. And then we'll close it out with Tarana accreditation training. Again, this is an area that Justin has been spearheading for us for about the last 6 months. And we'll go over the accreditation, what it is, some upcoming cities that we're going to be in giving those trainings, and how you can get on the list. So first off, we have RF planning. RF planning is a very, very important portion of site planning and knowing who you can hit with your wireless coverage. Vardan, would you like to start us off with some of your comments regarding RF planning and how it can benefit the ISP in doing so?
Sure. I mean, RF planning is one of the, initial, I believe, steps in determining, a site selection. So, there's a lot of RF planning tools out there. There's Google Network Planner, there's ATOL, there's EDX, there's a whole bunch of more that customers feel comfortable with or choose to use, and that's fine. As long as you remember that, it's a planning tool. It gives you a guidance based on the input you provide, based on the type of models it uses, whether it's LiDAR data or ray tracing or whatever the case may be, to determine what kind of coverage you'll get. And depending on the, accuracy of the, clutter data that is in the tool will also play a role in determining, what kind of coverage or capacity you will get at a specific location. We at Tarana, we use Google Network Planner. One of the main reasons we use Google Network Planner is because Google's an investor in Tarana. So being an investor in Tarana, we tend to use the tool that's provided to us through one of our investors. We help customers kind of, on their, site, on one or two sites, if they need to some kind of guidance because they want to, pilot our solution, we'll go ahead and help them with that and provide the kind of coverage or capacity they'll see. Now, anytime you use a RF planning tool, what you like to do is look at coverage, obviously, right? You want to see what you can cover. But at the same time, you want to adjust your coverage for the capacity, right? So even though you can go, let's say, 10 or 15 miles out, but maybe you want to deliver those larger type of SLAs, which happen to be 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 megabits per second. Therefore, to get those kind of, to provide those kind of SLAs, you may need to adjust your coverage accordingly to be able to deliver those type of capacities to your customer. Now, during the whole planning stage, using Google Network Planner gives you a clear and good indication on heights, where the BN should be mounted on a particular tower or a building rooftop, and allow you to select the appropriate site. So then plays a role into getting into site planning, which Justin will take on next. But very important to do RF planning. Gives you a good idea of what type of services you can provide. And you know what? It also takes it to the next level, right? Which is, capacity planning. If you're going to offer 100 megabit, based on your, coverage that you've selected, based on that coverage, you may want to offer 100, 200, 300 megabits, and then you have an oversubscription rate. You got to start playing with the numbers and doing some capacity calculations to be able to determine, hey, how many RNs can I put on this BN, right? Providing 25 megabit service versus 100 or 200 megabit service will determine your oversubscription rate. Sorry, your oversubscription rate and on the number of RNs you can have. Now, having said that, obviously the Tarana BN is capable of 2.4 gigabits, and the RNs capable of today 800 megabits per second aggregate. But at the end of the day, and we can handle 256 RNs, but it all comes down to coverage, performance, capacity planning, and site selection.
Great. So Justin, I know that we also offer RF planning as a service. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, yeah. So one of the services that we offer our customers is the ability to do the GNP as well. So, with Varden and his team, they can get pretty busy. And, that's kind of one thing that we like to offer customers is a way of, not having solely to weigh down, some of the Tarana folks with that. So we do offer the ability to run Google Network Planner to show, those highlighted points that Varden was talking about, expected coverage, performance, and then coverage versus actual capacity. And again, in a realistic, usable way.
Great.
So perfect. Well, I guess that's a good segue to the site planning. So it's good because it really does go hand in hand when you can look at the RF side, and then you can go and say, all right, now I have this perfect tower location. I know exactly the capacity I'm looking at, but I'm upgrading from a legacy system, which would do 200, 300 megs to a system that can do, for 4 APs, close to 10 gigs. So it really comes into play about doing proper site planning. And again, looking here, some of the first things we look at is say, what do we have feeding that new location, right? Making sure you have an adequate backhaul. It could be fiber, it can be wireless. But again, making sure that it's adequately set up for today and also 6 to 8 months into the future. After deploying Tarana gear, when you are successful, getting those additional customers, getting that additional revenue. So again, looking at the cable side with Apex 9 and Tarana, Apex 9, CTI Connect's in-house brand, having a great relationship with the different parting adapters for the Ethernet, fiber, and the DC power. So again, if you don't know, Tarana uses a proprietary connector with Harding, and again, CTI Connect and Harding with Tarana, great relationship. So on those sites, when you look at your cabinets, and again, looking at different power schemes, again, most traditional customers have PoE power that they use for radios. Well, you need DC power. So looking at some of the options with ICT, again, with our Apex 9 cabinets, we have purpose-built cabinets that can house anywhere from 4 to 8 200 amp hour batteries for battery backup time. So that again, when looking at deploying a carrier class product, having a full carrier class solution all the way down the tower to the site. So, and again, surge suppression, that's always a big one, making sure those investments are protected. So, got the hot mic with the dog, sorry. So again, having those investments protected is a big thing. And then again, looking at those different assets. So if you do have towers that you are leasing, what's the cost of running one individual cable, say a hybrid cable versus individual BN cables for data, power, and connectivity. So hybrid cabling with via photon, the ability to run one trunk cable from the enclosure up to one of their outdoor tower top boxes. And that way you can run 4 BNs, and in different cases, you can expand it up to 8 BNs plus backhaul. Again, all from one solution with one cable going down, saving you money on those rental and lease rates from different tower vendors. And then, you know, with routers and switches, CTI being a MikroTik distributor, looking at how we can, again, have 10 gigs coming in and purposely utilize those 10 gigs to those different customers in different applications. Because like Varden said, you know, the BN can do 2.4 gigs. And if you have 3 or 4 of those, was at 9.6, getting close to 10 gigs of capacity. So again, really, really, really stretching, you know, as we would say, today's infrastructure into the future for tomorrow. So looking at having some of those different site planning, you know, caveats on paper, and when you go to look at the sites will actually help out a ton. And that kind of leads us into this next piece.
Great. All right. Varden, anything to add for site planning?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, when you look at site planning, you know, you always want to make sure you have sufficient amount of backhaul, right? So it's great. I mean, we solve the, you know, fixed wireless access problem, providing high capacity, but we also, you know, introduce a new problem for service providers is, you know, now needing to beef up the backhaul. So to be able to address the newly required capacities by the customers.
All right, so surge protection, backhaul, cabinets. At CTI, we carry it all. And just note that when you are asking questions or you know, getting a quote for your G1 platform, that you do keep in mind that it is a proprietary connector that goes into the radio. And we have Harding connectors, Harding cables from both Tarana and internally with our Apex 9 brand. So just make sure that that's something on everybody's radar, that it is a proprietary connector. Okay. Site kitting and BN pre-configuration services.
Yep. So this is a topic that really is near and dear to my heart. So, you know, with all the different customers that are out there, it could be a value-added reseller, it could be a contained user, you know, a WISP, it could be anybody. Everybody has had one of those times where you've ordered gear, it shows up on a pallet, and the pallet's half missing, or, you know, the one piece you really have to have is not there, fell off in the truck, or, you know, sometimes you'll have a technician will come in and say, hey, look here, I just see a brand new spool of cable. I need that for my truck stock, and they just take it. So that's one of the biggest things that that I've heard a lot of churn and heartburn about, because, you know, when you have that tower crew that's coming in, that's working, they're going to get paid regardless. And then if you have to have them, you know, pretty much sit around for a day and then, you know, try to rush to get, you know, the product in, you know, hopefully next day, depending on the locations, you know, it can be a big financial toll. So one of the things that we've come up with is this site kitting service. So with this site kitting service through CTI is we literally take a site. So let's say 4 BNs, it could be the power cable, it could be the fiber jumpers, it could be the SFPs, It could be, you know, the surge protection, anything and everything. And what we do is we, in essence, package it up in a crate on a pallet, and then we actually affix a cool little barcode, QR code to that. So what that does is it's kind of like the Amazon X-ray, where you could kind of put your phone over the label. It'll kind of tell you what's inside. So it kind of does the same thing. So the nice thing is, for a receivable, you can click on that. You can see everything that's inside of it. You know, accounting kind of likes that. Again, you can see individual line items, but the best part is that if it's delivered to the warehouse or delivered to the site, it's all enclosed. So nobody can take anything out. It can't, you know, stuff doesn't go walking away unless it's the entire, you know, hopefully it doesn't happen, but the entire container. But again, stuff, it's delivered to the site, so that, again, if you have a crew working on it, all they have to do in essence is open it up. Everything will be right there for them on that. And again, with the QR coding, you know, we can make it to where if you want, you know, an asset kind of tag set up for that, we can do that for you guys as well, so that you can see, you know, who opened it. If you want it password protected, so only certain people can actually look at it, that can be done as well. So that's one of the nice things. And then the BN pre-configuration services that kind of goes in with the site kitting is, again, we can make sure that when we get the BNs, we power them on, we can burn them through, we can make sure that the latest firmware is on the BNs. And, you know, if there's any VLAN configurations, we can actually put that on the radio, make sure that it does pass traffic through a micro tick switch or router or whatever we have, or whatever is needed by the customer. And then again, we can help with TCS as well. So setting up some of the network configurations in TCS, building out the different market cell site sectors, and then again, giving confirmation that the BN does talk with TCS. So again, adding a little bit of additional peace of mind so that everything is done on the ground before it gets swung up into the air. Because I'm sure this is something that Varden can agree with, is that when stuff isn't done on the ground, when it's done in the air, it adds a little bit more complexity, and the margin of what can go wrong always seems to get bigger. So
Yeah, definitely, to add to that, I mean, if it's your first, you know, BN and RNs, we always strongly recommend for the first one, you know, make sure you configure the BN router, everything accordingly, make sure everything works on the ground. And then, you know, you can go ahead and put it up on a tower, and then you get you get almost, you know, 100% assurance that it'll work through your network. And then, you know, subsequent BNs, that's a different story. Now that you're familiar with how it should be configured, installed, and integrated, then everything should go a lot better then.
Yep. And again, the biggest thing here, you know, as that bottom part, peace of mind. So knowing that, you know, you're getting, you know, this carrier class product that's going to come correct, and it's going to come pretty much ready to go. Just all you have to do is hoist it up, power it up, and you're off and generate revenue.
Yeah, and I'd like to add too, Justin, you know, part of this site kitting that you can do is programming backhauls. Like we do a lot of that right now. So you can program the BN and the backhauls and all the other assorted items in there, so that you know that no matter what it is you're putting on that site, everything goes up at the same time and has been pre-programmed, burned in, and you know it's working already, right? So you don't have all those different pieces having to come together in the field and worry about them.
Correct. Yeah. And again, that's a good point, Mike. You know, not just the Tarana, but also the backhaul radios. And actually we offer this service too for our enclosures. So if you want to have the ability to have, you know, the ICT inside the enclosure, the switches inside the enclosures, if you want to be able to have the ability to have, you know, AC outlets installed inside the enclosure, you know, we do offer all those as a service. So again, when everything shows up on the site, it's, you know, again, from the enclosure, just hook up line power to it, and then you'll have power to that going to the backhauls, going to the BNs. So, and again, biggest thing, peace of mind, knowing that everything shows up complete, ready to go.
Great. Any questions from any of the attendees? Okay, bashful crowd today. All right, we'll move on to the Tarana accreditation trainings.
All right. So with the accreditation trainings, this has been a really, really, really fun time. You know, we've seen, and everybody has seen kind of, you know, through other individuals speaking about it, and you've seen through different, you know, social media, you know, posts, you've seen through different trade shows about how great Tarana is. You kind of get it and you're like, man, this stuff really works. But then you're like, how does it work? And this is one of the good things about the accreditation training is we kind of go and we kind of talk about the science behind, you know, the, as they would say, how it can bend the physics, right? How it does the different things. So we really discussed a lot of why Tarana is really so good in high noise environments. What really makes the BN and the RN so unique with the beamforming on both sides. And you know, there's a multitude of different things, but we go over some of those physical things, and also again, how to properly set up your network and how to get the most out of the network, how to properly see which customers can get the different packages based off of the Google Network Planning or other software tools. So that, hey, you know, if today you can run, you know, 100 meg link over it, and through some of the testing that you do on it, you can see that the radio can perform and give a 400 or 500 meg package. You know, it's just additional revenue or different additional ARPU that you can give, you know, again, without even having to roll a truck. You just have to change your SLA level and you're good to go. So those are some of the things in the accreditation training that we look at. And then again, the big one is TCS. So the Tarana Cloud Suite is pretty much the overview of your entire Tarana network. And again, with CBRS, with 5 gig, we look at how you can look at different alarms, how you can set up different networks. And again, anything and everything to do with the radios itself. You know, we offer in those accreditation trainings. I'm actually after this call, I'm actually heading to the airport, get on a plane for our accreditation in Colorado tomorrow on Thursday. And then after that, as you see here, we have one in Sacramento, but again, we have a couple coming up in Q2. So Houston, Nashville, and Chicago. So again, doesn't matter if you're a WISP, you know, oil and gas, self-maintained user, a municipality. This product has, you know, stretches in all of those different vertical markets. So really like seeing the different attendees for the class, and again, hearing all the different stories of how they're using Tarana. And again, it's a really good group think environment that, you know, a lot of knowledge is transferred through the customers through that, so, or the clients. So
a question for you, Justin. If I want to attend one of the trainings, I happen to be a WISP, do you have somewhere on your website where we can go register, or how do we reach out to CTI to actually attend one of the training classes?
So we actually have a dedicated landing page for the accreditation trainings. And then also we send out a mailer as well, letting our customers know for those upcoming trainings. And then also too, we actually have a link on Tarana's website. So they can go to Tarana's website as well, click on accredited trainers, CTI will pop up, and then it'll lead you to our landing page where you can sign up for the accreditation trainings.
Thank you. And if I happen to be a larger, you know, wireless internet service provider, is there an option where we can schedule a class? Because I may have, you know, 6, 8, 10, 12, or 15, or whatever number of employees I like to get trained. Can we get a training set up just to cater for our employees?
100%. So we do offer customized accreditation trainings. You know, we've had some customers, like you mentioned, they'll have, you know, 15 or 20 individuals they want to get accredited, or they just want more of, you know, as we'll say, an intimate setting on their own property with their own BNs and actually looking at their live networks. So it definitely is something that we offer. If you know, typically we try to keep the class sizes around 10 individuals. If there are more than that, then please reach out to your CTI rep, or if not, training@cticonnect.com is an email that'll go to Mr. Hopperich and myself. Or if not, talk to, you can talk to one of your Tarana sales engineers, Varden or Craig or Mark Billets, and they can get you directed in the right way as well.
Okay. And is there any requirements if I'm a wireless internet service provider where I want the training to be customized? Is there any equipment requirements that are required for the training for hands-on and all that we need to provide, or just what is CTI providing and
Yep.
what is the?
So CTI, we provide the entire traveling roadshow, as I like to say. So we'll come there with a BN with all the power, with 5 RNs. We'll have all the networking pieces. So we travel with everything for a real hands-on, inclusive, learning about the product, because again, that's the only way that customers will be successful and feel more confident with the gear. So that can be as what we call our pod locations, where like Houston, Nashville, Chicago, Denver, all that's provided. The venues provided, the meals are provided, all that stuff. And then for the private trainings, the customer either has the option to provide their own gear, or if they don't, let's say if they are a new WISP and they're just getting into it, waiting for gear, we can go ahead and provide that too.
Beautiful. And how many days is the curriculum?
So it's a 2-day course.
Thank you.
And there is an exam. But again, the reason why is that, they want the customers to really be, masters of this trade. So then again, the more they know, the better off that their experience will be.
Right. Ultimately, the better off their network's going to operate, right? Because having that hands-on knowledge really allows them to take it and replicate it in their own network.
Yep.
We do have a question. Is there any discount if we have the accreditation training? The answer to that is yes. So there are several different discount levels within Tarana. There are several that do require 1 or 2 different technicians to be trained to achieve. So the short answer is yes. The long answer is it's a little bit more detailed than that. It comes down to yearly and quarterly sales. So please check with your sales rep. If you don't have a sales rep, visit the website and fill out the contact us form or the services form and sign up for a class, and somebody will get back to you right away and get you some of that information. All right. Any other questions, comments? All right, well, that is going to conclude our webinar. Short and sweet, that's how we like to do it. Everybody's got 30 minutes in their day, right? That's what I like to think. So yeah, if you have any questions, please visit the website on any of the stuff that we discussed here. If you want more information on the Tarana products, I know this is a bit more of a learning experience than a product knowledge base, but we can certainly get you hooked up with one of our incredibly seasoned sales reps that's going to get you exactly what you need to know and quote out for Tarana. So Varden, Justin, appreciate the time. Thank you so much. And everybody enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you for having us. Thank you everyone for joining.
Yep, thank you.
All right.